after a frustrating loss on Monday night against the White Sox to kick off that 3-game series. The Philadelphia Phillies came out strong, got a 6-3 victory in the second game of that series last night on Tuesday. They're wrapping up this series finale this afternoon, 2:10 local time here in Philadelphia against the White Sox, trying to go for this series win. Taijuan Walker is scheduled to start for the Phillies, and then they start a 6-game homestand starting on Friday. First against the Detroit Tigers, and then the Baltimore Orioles. Again, 6 games at home before they hit the road yet again. Welcome into Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Henley. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Big reason why the Phillies got that win last night is because Jesús Luzardo had a great outing. He's been struggling as of late, but he was pretty dominant yesterday in that win over the White Sox. Tossed 7 scoreless innings for Jesús Luzardo, 7 really solid innings for the left-hander. He allowed just 2 hits, 1 walk, obviously 0 earned runs in those 7 innings. Only 4 strikeouts. He's usually getting more strikeouts than that, but still, nonetheless, got the win, 7 scoreless innings. He did only throw 90 pitches, and it did look like he and Rob Thompson were discussing maybe going out there for the 8th inning with his pitch count being at 90, but ultimately decided to call it a game there, and he went 7 scoreless in that 6-3 win. He also had some help early on. The Phillies offense gave him an early 6-0 lead after 3 innings, so that always helps the pitcher's confidence, helps the pitcher settle into a ball game better, and we saw that yesterday with Jesús Luzardo. Great start by him. Now, we also know that he had a great start to the 2025 season to begin his Philadelphia Phillies career, and then all of a sudden just hit a wall and was really just a completely different pitcher starting on May 31st. Really horrible performance by Jesús Luzardo. And then the following start he had on June 5th, also very poor performance by the former Miami Marlin, but he has had some good games since then. Very inconsistent overall since those starts on May 31st and June 5th. But yesterday, great performance. He's also had a couple of those good performances as well since that time in that time span. But we'll see if he can get back. And this is a turning point in his season here for Jesús Luzardo to get back to where he was earlier in the season. He also has been maybe rumored or thought to have been tipping his pitches during this inconsistency since those bad starts back at the end of May and early June, and this inconsistency that's been since could be a problem for him, but yesterday was a very good start, and as I said, hopefully it's just a turning point for Jesús Luzardo because we saw how dominant and elite that Phillies starting rotation was earlier in this. It still is, but earlier in the season when Zach Wheeler was going great, Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez coming back and doing great, Jesús Luzardo doing great, so hopefully they can get back to where they were earlier in the season. Now, not only did Jesús Luzardo have a good game, but Kyle Schwarber hit another Schwarber bomb. The Schwarberian Schwarbs just absolutely launched a 441-foot home run to right field in the 3rd inning of yesterday's win. It was a 2-run home run by Kyle Schwarber, his 37th home run of 2025. He is now tied with Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees for the 3rd most home runs in Major League Baseball. The Mariners catcher, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, he has 41 home runs, leading the majors there in that category. Kyle Schwarber also had a double yesterday in addition to that home run, so he went 2 for 4 with a double and a walk against the White Sox in that 6-3 win. Great stuff out of Kyle Schwarber. I talk about him all the time, how great he is, how much he means to this team, the city, the fan base, and the Phillies. John Middleton, Dave Dombrowski, they need to lock up Kyle Schwarber and re-sign this man ASAP before any other team can have an opportunity to steal him away from the Phillies this offseason because he is a free agent and the Phillies really need him. Great leader, obviously great power hitter, great hitter overall, really. He was an all-star. Won that all-star game in the swing-off this year for the National League. Great in the community, all that kind of stuff. Just a really perfect guy, perfect player, and the Phillies need to keep him around. He means so much to this team and this lineup. Other guys that maybe meant a decent amount to this lineup before still should mean stuff to the lineup, but haven't had great years this year in 2025. had a pretty significant role in that win yesterday over the White Sox, and I am talking about Brandon Marsh, the struggling outfielder there. Hasn't really lived up to the expectations the Phillies had for him, or even the fan base when they traded for him a few years ago from the Los Angeles Angels. Hasn't really been able to take a stranglehold of a starting outfield spot out there like they thought he could as a hitter, as a good defender, all that kind of fun stuff. Just very inconsistent at the plate. Has had some good moments throughout his Phillies career, but has had some pretty bad moments in 2025. Just not a very good season for Brandon Marsh. But yesterday, he went 2 for 4 as well, just like Kyle Schwarber in that win over the White Sox. He also hit a 2-run home run, and he also had a double. So very similar to Kyle Schwarber yesterday. Helped the Phillies get an early lead, and they really didn't look back from that moment on. As I said, 6 runs in the first 3 innings by the Phillies. Max Kepler, we all know, Phillies signed the veteran from the Minnesota Twins this offseason to a 1-year deal. Hasn't lived up to expectations at all. He's batting just a hair over 200. Very, very bad season for Max Kepler offensively at the plate. People want him gone. The fans want him gone. We'll see what happens here with the trade deadline or if they release him or whatever. But he hit a sacrifice fly yesterday in the second inning to score the first run of the game. Gave the Phillies a 1-0 lead over the White Sox there in the second inning. Bryson Stott, he's also had a very poor year at the plate offensively for the Phillies. Really poor performance really last year overall as well. They thought that he could have a very strong career here early on when he hit about 280, had a lot of doubles, very clutch hitting a few years ago. But the past 2 years, just very inconsistent, very down numbers for Bryson Stott at the plate. Yesterday, he hit a double for the Phillies. He's had some good hits recently as well in these past couple games. And then Jordan Romano, he went a scoreless 8th inning in relief of Jesús Luzardo, who went those 7 scoreless innings. Jordan Romano, we all know, just like Max Kepler, a veteran addition this past offseason, just horrible out of the bullpen. He's had some good moments as well, but a lot of bad moments. His ERA is way too high. He blows some games. But yesterday, a scoreless 8th inning. He had a strikeout, and 8 of his 11 pitches were strikes. So Brandon Marsh, Max Kepler, Bryson Stott, and Jordan Romano all struggling this year for the Phillies in 2025, but all did something to help the Phillies win that ball game yesterday against the White Sox to go into this afternoon's game in the series finale, looking for another series win, heading back home after an off day tomorrow to start that 6-game home stand. Now, today is July 31st. The making of this video is today is July 30th, not July 31st. Sorry, today is July 30th. Tomorrow is July 31st. Obviously, the July 31st trade deadline is tomorrow. So that means the Phillies really have another day plus a little over 24 hours to try to make some moves here, or at least one move to improve their roster, improve their chances at a World Series championship here in 2025. A lot of rumors swirling around on what they could be doing. They're reportedly very aggressive in the reliever market, which they obviously need a high leverage bullpen arm or 2 if they can make that happen. At least 1 though. So that is a possibility. Should happen. But they could also look to upgrade their outfield. That has been a problem, particularly left and center field this year. Very inconsistent play offensively from those guys. Johan Rojas, Brandon Marsh, Max Kepler, the platoon situation out there in left field. Whoever's on the right-handed bat with Max Kepler is a left-hander. They could look to try to trade for an outfielder if a trade makes sense, if the price is right. And one of those guys could be Los Angeles Angels outfielder Joe Adell. He is a 26-year-old right-handed hitter, outfielder. He had 20 home runs last year in 2024, so he's got some pop in his bat. But he did have a 207 batting average. Not really known to hit for contact, hit for hits, base hits really. He's a home run kind of guy, a power kind of guy. He is, however, he has, as I said, not really a contact. He has a 218 career batting average, but he is having his best season really in 2025 here for the Angels. He's batting .237 with a .307 on base percentage, a .470 slugging, .777 OPS, 14 doubles, 1 triple, a career high 21 home runs at this point of the season, 61 RBIs through 101 games for the Los Angeles Angels. He had 11 home runs with a .293 batting average in June, his best month of the season. He has 3 home runs with a 221 batting average so far in July, so had a little bit of a dip in production from that good month of June. But he is having a good last couple of games here, which is good for the Angels that they're looking to trade him. I don't know if they are. He's a young guy. He's had some success at the plate here. He's one of their better hitters power-wise. So he is rumored in trade rumors for many teams here looking for outfield help like the Phillies could be. Having a last couple of good games here for the Angels. He's batting .278 with a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs in his last 5 games, including last night's ball game there. He has experience at all 3 outfield positions throughout his major league career. He's mostly been a right fielder throughout his career, but he's mostly played center field so far in 2025. He does have 2 more years of club control, won't be a free agent in 2028, so there's that controllability that teams like when they're trading for a guy. He's young, he's had some power success. Hopefully, he develops more as a more overall hitter, having a better year at the plate. Still, average is way too low, but the power is still there for Joe Adell. The Angels are 4th in the American League West. They're 4 games out of American League wildcard spot, so they could still be hanging on for their playoff hopes here. They're still right in the picture. We are getting into August now. Obviously, August, September, and then the playoffs start. So we'll see if they decide to sell a guy like Joe Adell, who's still young, who could be a piece of their future. But the Phillies should definitely look into him if he's available and if the price isn't too high. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Taijuan Walker on the mound looking for the series finale win and a series win against the White Sox this afternoon. Tune in, and hopefully we're talking about a Phillies win and a series win when we're on here tomorrow. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, go Phils.